and welcome to today's episode of RGN. My name is George, and today we'll be talking about gaming news from across the world for your enjoyment. Stay tuned for more. For our very first gaming news story, we're going to be talking about the PS Vita and how Gamestop is said to have demo units available, but you also have to make sure that you call ahead of time because they're only restricting it to being viewed to a few select people. Now, this is shown from Game Informer, which is owned by GameStop, and that they have announced that they are carrying more than 3,300 different PlayStation Vita units at the GameStop locations across North America. Now, this is great news as there will be enough PlayStation Vitas to fill and allow demos at every single GameStop location in North America. Now, this is great news because your next door GameStop most likely will have this, but one of the biggest things is that you are going to have to make sure you call before you go, as a person at Kotaku has actually stated that they contacted one of the stores, and the stores actually told them that they won't be allowing different demos by different people if you don't, if you don't actually buy it. They're only demoing. They're only actually allowing the demos to people who are buying the console for sure. So this is big news. You are able to demo the PS Vita on hand, but you have to make sure you call them just so you make sure that you can actually play with this. Now on to the next story. We're going to be talking about Microsoft and how they are able to be the top selling console for worldwide in 2011 and why that will be staying the same way in 2012. Now, one of the main reasons that Microsoft has actually been able to keep up with the trend of being one of the most top selling consoles worldwide for their Xbox 360, basically because of a new feature that they added this year. Now, this new feature was, of course, the Microsoft Connect. Now, many people are like, oh, that thing, whoever uses that anymore? But to be honest, it actually is one of the main reasons that they are leading in sales for the huge console war that's going on. Now, basically, the same idea was that Microsoft was able to look at the different competition, at the different audience base, and find that before, Wii was able to attract most of the casual gamers through their interactive interface. Now, Microsoft was able to build upon this idea. Some people might call it stealing, but let's not keep it that way. Let's say it's building. So building upon the idea by creating the Kinect, a virtually hands-free system which allows you to move around and do anything that you want. Now, obviously, the game started off with Dance Central, stuff like that, what casual gamers would like, something that would be active for gamers, I guess. But then it started later on to getting into more of their core audience, so the teenagers, the adults, when the people who are into more action-y games. Now, this included the Gunstringer. Now, that is a different set from Dance Central. Now, obviously, from there, it seemed to have incorporated even more games into racing games, into different games, and even soon into soon into FPS games. Now, that is really crazy because it originally started off being something that could compete against the Wii in that specific market, but was able to expand further, not to their understanding previously. Now, another reason why Microsoft was able to get this top position and why it was able to be the most top selling console in worldwide in 2011 was because of their stellar third-party support. Gaming companies have put Microsoft as one of their main targets. Now, Gears of War 3, big name, big Microsoft. This is a Microsoft game that was able to be supported and heavily relied on by Microsoft. Another game which was heavily relied on was Forza Motorsport, as well as the Call of Duty MW3. Now, this game was first announced for the Microsoft console, which is the Xbox 360, but later on, obviously, for other consoles, other platforms, of course, but one of the biggest names for Xbox. Now, obviously, other games, which include Skyrim, has helped Microsoft be able to keep up with its gaming quality. For the final news story, we're going to be talking about SEN. Now, you must be wondering, what is SEN? SEN stands for Sony Entertainment Network. Now, Sony Entertainment Network is the new PSN. Apparently, according to a bunch of rumors, but now according to actual Sony, it is stated that Sony will be changing their PlayStation Network to the Sony Entertainment Network. Now, the reason behind their change is obviously it's a more fancy name, not really, but the reason behind this is that SEN covers a cross-platform Sony service that allows it to be able to handle digital distribution of musics, films, books, games, and much more, not only relying solely upon the gaming community, but also across the different media platforms such as music. Now, this is for a lot of people just a name change because they don't even ever use any of other Sony products. But for some people, this is a great news because it allows you to integrate different things and put together a sole network, which allows you to access all of your medias that is provided by Sony, which is great news. And that concludes today's episode of RGN. My name is George. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and game on. See you next week.